Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Megan. I'm the Mood Read Queen, and today we are talking about A Curse of Dark and Lonely. This is the fourth episode of the Give a Girl a Library, Beauty and the Beast Retelling series, and I am never going to run out of books to talk about. Just trying to go through the list of books is, oh my gosh, it can be overwhelming. But hopefully at this point you know what this series is. Basically, I talk about Beauty and the Beast retellings. It is my weakness. I was about to say it's my kink, but I mean, maybe it is too. I don't know. There's something about, and I know this is like not healthy of me, but there's something about sort of a dark, broody, misunderstood, potentially deformed, lonely man that just gets to me. And then I'm a sucker. Also just realized that my shirt matches my pillows. So I might be blending into the pillow. I don't know. But anyway, I'm a sucker for that. Like, I'm a sucker for that. It's the reason why, upon initial viewings, I did not hate the newer sequel trilogy for Star Wars. Although now, of course, I'm not happy. But because like any character who is morally gray, ooh yes, morally gray. That's a good word on Instagram recently. Those morally gray characters who feel compelled to do the right thing, but are, limited and blocked at every turn, and life has not dealt them the best cards. Oh my God. Anyway, so there we go. That's why we talk about Beauty and the Beast retellings, because I love them. And they are such a great opportunity to explore character development, and you can take what you want from the original fairy tale. And I just find that so fascinating. And so this is the fourth, I think it's the fourth. I'm pretty sure it's the fourth episode. So we're going to talk about A Curse of Dark and Lonely. We are not going to talk about the sequels. I'm going to try not to, but I will might possibly bring them up. I'm sorry. Because I want you to go into this with an open mind, but also not be fooled or taken by surprise or become frustrated later on because I didn't tell you some things that might have been important for you to know. So, Curse Dark and Lonely. What is it about? Well, I think some people would classify this as YA. I do believe it is. At the same time, it doesn't really matter. There's definitely not like a spice to this really. So if you're like, I need them to be on it. Nah. But like, that doesn't matter really. Like, I don't know. If you want to read them, be on it, go read fan fiction, right? Like, story is important as well. Not that you can have a story with like them, banging against a tree or whatever. I was talking to somebody today at work about Bridgerton, and she hasn't watched the show yet because she watched the first 4 minutes and she's like, there were 2 sex scenes in this, and she skips those scenes in historical romances, and I was like, girl, it's fine. Not every scene is a sex against a tree scene. So anyway, although they could have, and I would have been fine with it too. So this tells the story of Harper and Wren. Harper lives in present-day Washington, D.C. with her brother, and she has cerebral palsy. So she's got a limp. I can't remember which leg. This has really good subtle disability rep, which I think there are more and more books coming out with those, but I didn't expect it in this, and it was a pleasant surprise. So her older brother and Nate, man, I killed it. Yes, his name is Nate. He has been working with some shady people paying off some debt that their father incurred by trying to help their mother through cancer treatments, I believe. And their mother is still sick. And Nate is working these questionable jobs and trying to keep Harper away from that life. But she wants to help in any way she can, so she's his lookout. And the beginning of the book starts when she's looking out for him. She's got a tire iron, and she sees this man walking with a woman across the street. Both of them very attractive. The woman, like, blonde-haired, beautiful model, and this sort of, darker, like dark hair, sort of dark expressions, and this man. And she looks away, and then when she looks back, the woman is sort of slumped. And Harper's like, what? Are you, like, trying to date rape this chick? What the hell, dude? I'm coming at you. And so she goes in with the tire iron, and she's like, gonna get this guy. And before she knows it, she's been transported. And you kind of have to go with the flow in this, just FYI. And she is in, like, basically a parallel universe that is like fairy tale land, basically. Is there a name in this place? Sure. Emberfall. Okay. Ren is the heir to Emberfall. And so basically she thwarted an attempt by Ren's low-key bestie, although I don't know if they would call themselves friends at the beginning, but at the end they would. And the only member of his royal guard who's still alive, Gray. And Gray is the only one who has the ability to use, like, I don't know how often they can do it. I think it's once per season, and they explain what that is. That to go bring a woman back. And they try to bring people who, like, don't have connections, people who seem willing. Because there was a time when there were women lining up for this, women, they were, in their kingdom. But Ren, he is not a beast physically. But it has been like 374 seasons or something. It's been a lot. And a season is like, I think when the fall turns to winter is where we're going. I think where we're getting at. And at the end of a season, he will turn into a beast. And he's dangerous. He's very dangerous when that happens. And he's the reason why Gray is the only member of his royal guard who's still alive. It is the reason why Ren is alone. And it is the reason why he has withdrawn from his people and why they think that the royal family is gone, like, visiting, because he's very violent and not in control of himself when he becomes a beast. And he was cursed by a very jealous woman who, I don't know if he led her on necessarily, but he wasn't the most gentlemanly, and slept with this woman named Lilith, who was a witch, we're going to call her a witch, but, and she curses that mofo, and, it is what it is. And so time works differently on the estate where Ren lives, the castle. I can't remember exactly, but for him, it's been going on for a long, long time. Like 300 and some odd seasons, which is like 3 months, sections. I mean, it's been going on for a long, long time. And he's tired. And he's tried different ways of wooing these women, and he's, like, he's almost accepted that, like, it's just not going to happen. But it's only been about 5 years or so for the kingdom that exists outside of the walls of the boundaries of the castle and the grounds where the castle is. So when Harper realizes that what's happened and that she's been taken, Gray can't take her back until the season's over. And Ren's like, well, I'm not gonna, like, try to woo you or anything. You weren't ever supposed to be here in the first place. but we can't get you back until later. So, sorry. And of course, Harper's like, my mom is sick, my cell phone doesn't work. And she's not annoying about it, but she's like, I have people who need me. What happened to Nate? I wasn't his lookout. And she tries to escape. And then and I'll try to not have a ton of spoilers in this, but she realizes the state that Emberfall is in, and they are leaderless, because Rin really is the king. There is no one else. But he's keeping up the guise that there is someone else because it would explain why he hasn't taken responsibility, and he does not know what to do because he doesn't feel like he can protect them. So Harper's like, well, I'm here, so let's just do some shit. Like, let's fix some stuff. And she pretends that she is Princess Harper from this kingdom that doesn't exist, and that they're going to get married, and that her father is going to come in with some troops and try to, there are these like soldiers from another kingdom, Sallow Sill or something like that. Shallow Sill. It's not, I mean, it's important later on, but it's not as important in this book. Well, actually, it probably is important now that I think about it. Is her brother's name Jake, actually? Her brother's name is Jake. Sorry, not Nate. Or maybe it is... Sill Shallow is the name of the place. And they realize that soldiers from that country, that kingdom, are taking things from people, destroying homes. And Harper's like, we can do something about this now. Like, we don't have to wait. And that will give you a purpose. And maybe you can find a way out of this. And then the next girl, maybe that's it, right? And so for the first time, Rin has hope. And Harper brings that hope. And he is also... Rin is inexperienced, weirdly, even though he comes across that way. I guess he's naive. Like, he's clearly had relationships, you know, like he and Lilith, like, slept together. It's the reason why all this has happened. But he's different with Harper, and he doesn't know, he cares about it. And he's told her he's not going to try to woo her, but he really likes her. And she gives him strength and purpose and inspires him. And he is very unsure of himself with her. And he doesn't know how to act around her. And so he talks to Gray about it, and it's very sweet. But at the same time, she's going to be leaving, right? I mean, the plan is that she goes back home. And Rin is also being tortured by Lilith, who comes back time and time again and, like, tortures him to the point of, like, he's, like, on his knees, like throwing out blood, like, in the courtyard. And Harper tries to stand up for him and protect him. And she ends up getting injured. And it's just, Rin is never at peace. Like, it's just not good. Either mentally or physically, he's not at peace. And so they start visiting all these places in Emberfall and getting leaders together and having meetings and really, you know, preparing for the arrival of Harper's father, which he's never going to come because he's not real. But they're trying to put together their own army and, like, rallying the people together. And it's hard to explain what this book is, because Rin and Harper are two of my favorite characters of all time. I love their connection. I love their relationship. And they start as sort of perceived enemies, and then they're strangers, and then they're friends, and then there's potential between them. And, you know, what does that potential mean? And then, of course, things become complicated. Does she need to go home to her mother? Because her mother is she finds out that her mother, Lilith, I think, tells him that her mother is sick, and so I think she makes a deal that she'll be able to go before the end of the season. But like, I think Ren makes a deal that way she can go. And so you have this, like, what's important, because she's part of something in a way that she was never part of something at home. She belongs in Emberfall in a way that she never belonged in DC. And she has a purpose, and she has someone that she cares about, and she has friends, and she doesn't want to leave that. But also she has her mom and her brother, and are they okay? And so it's just it's a beautiful book. There's great characters. Ren and Gray. Gray is the only guard who's still alive. They have this kind of like Prince Guard relationship, but at the same time, there's something a little bit more meaningful beneath it. And they kind of settle into this, you know what, we are friends. We've been there for each other. And then, you know, obviously you have these soldiers who are causing issues in the kingdom, and the Emberfall and Ren and Harper and Gray have been trying to build and train an army. And Harper's been training, and that they're doing it for a reason, because like they're gonna be in danger from this army who's coming, from this queen who knows something. And apparently the king, Ren's father, was paying her off, but when he died, those payments ended, and Ren doesn't know why she was paying, like his father was paying her off, and she's using that as an excuse to attack. And so there's some really epic battle scenes. There might be sort of like a dragon-esque type beast situation going on. There might be only Harper can like calm Ren situation going on. And it's so good. Now, should you read the series? I don't know. I think only you can decide that. The last chapter of this book, so it ends well, okay? But the last chapter is a cliffhanger from Gray's perspective. So the book goes Harper, Ren, Harper, Ren, Harper, Ren, and then the last chapter is from Gray's perspective. When I finished this book, I knew where it was going to go. It's not hard to figure it out, right? Like, I mean, the clues are there, and I very clearly remember having conversations with a couple of students who read this, and you know the general direction of the next book. But here's the problem. I thought it was going to be a duology. It has a duology vibe about it. It is not a duology, it's a trilogy. Books 2 and 3 are too long. They struggle from pacing issues. And I'm all about characters developing, of course. And I can also agree that sometimes fans think they know everything, and they feel entitled to criticize when those criticisms are unfounded. I also believe that fans can be right, and Harper and Ren in books 2 and 3 aren't the Harper and Ren that I met in this book, and I don't know if Gray is either. So it is incredibly frustrating. I wanted to throw the book across the room several times, both of them. I read the last 100 pages of the third book in literally in a Friday when I was at school during reading time. I could barely keep my eyes on the page because I was so pissed. And I really loathe books 2 and 3. But this book is perfect almost. It's so good and it's so worth reading. And I don't want to scare you off it, but I want to give you permission to only read this if you want. You take that permission, okay? Take it. Because this is a great book. And just that last chapter that is titled Gray, skip it if you want. Like, don't read it. It's okay, because this book stands alone. And if you decide that you're curious and you want to go on, that's fine. I warned you. This is the only copy. Like, I have the entire series at school. I have always had a copy of this one at home. It is very telling that books 2 and 3 are at school, in my classroom library, and not in my house. So that's it. That's Cursed, Dark, and Lonely. It is a wonderful, wonderful book. One of my most recent favorites of recent years. Seriously, like top 25 all time. Love it. So that's it. If you have any suggestions for Beauty and the Beach retellings, please give them to me. I love them. I've read great ones. I've read terrible ones. I will always try to recommend books that I love, but if you have ones that you'd like me to read or ones that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments. And that's it. Bye, everybody.